Sorry, chapter 1 got cut in half. Okay. Sometimes Jack wrote articles about the weather and plants and animals, and he emailed them to science magazines and universities, and sometimes people emailed him questions to answer. He would tell them about tropical storms and iguanas and seaweed, but he would never tell them where the island was, in case the Tropo tourists ever found it, because Jack hated the Tropo tourists worse than sea snakes or scorpions. Only the supply ship, which came once a year to bring them books and paper, flour and yeast, nails and cloth, and the other things that they couldn't make themselves, knew where they lived. It was too big to weave its way through the reef, so Jack and Nim always sailed out to meet it, and the ship's captains never saw just how beautiful the island was. And every day, no matter how excited Jack got about finding a new kind of seashell or butterfly, they looked after their garden. They watered it if it was dry and weeded the weeds. They picked what was ripe. Here's a picture of it. Jack had built a 3-sided shed for the tools with a big hook for the bananas and his big machete to cut them with. The machete was Nim's favorite tool. When they looked after the garden and fished for dinner, when they looked after the garden and fished for dinner and checked the beaches for driftwood or bottles or anything else that might have floated in with the tide, Nim had school. Now, that was what they called it, but it wasn't inside and it wasn't at a desk. They sat on the beach in the dark to study the stars and climbed cliffs to see birds in their nests. Nim learned the language of dolphins, about the tiny crabs that float out to sea on their coconut homes, and how to watch the clouds and listen to the wind. Sometimes for a whole day they talked in sea lion grunts or frigate bird squawks or plankton wiggles. Jack loved plankton. Nim's favorites were the ones that shone bright in the sea at night, but Jack loved them all because they were so little and so important, because the little fish ate them, and then bigger fish ate the little fish, and the biggest fish ate the bigger fish, and there wouldn't have been any fish at all if it weren't for plankton. But Nim liked animals that you could see and have fun with. So when Jack had said he was going sailing for 3 days to collect plankton, Nim had decided to stay at home. "I'll phone every night at sunset," said Jack, "and then you can check the email. If you don't hear from me or see me for 3 days, send an SOS. But Nim knew that Jack would be okay, because he was the best sailor on the ocean. And Jack knew that Nim would be okay, because Selkie was always with her. Selkie sometimes forgot that Nim was strong and smart, and looked after her as if she were a tiny pup. Even when the king of the sea lions barked at her to come and fish, or snuggle down at night with her sea lion family, Selkie stayed close to Nim. That's the end of chapter 1.